Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Women's Nurturing Circle. I'm today here with a very dear friend and a collaborator of mine, Emily Collins. Emily is an extraordinary woman, fiercely creative. It's very hard to put everything that she's doing and that she has done in a couple of words. But yeah, for me, she is someone truly special. I would describe her as a medicine woman, also as an entrepreneur, a filmmaker. That has been her newest venture. And I think I'll just let Emily talk a little bit about herself and her path in the introduction.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nina. I feel really excited to be part of this Women's Nurturing Circle. It was an answer to a prayer of mine, a desire of mine. I just wanted to connect even more with women virtually. I found that my circle had kind of grown to a global circle after I had moved different places, and I was looking for a way to kind of connect all the dots in all the places I had been, and a virtual circle seemed to be the answer. And it was great. I didn't have to create it myself. My dear sister Nina here had the same vision, and so here we are. And I I felt really strongly about what's happening with the women right now. We're really in a big transformation process. We are stepping back into our power. The ages is shifting to the Aquarian age, and we can really feel it. We've been feeling it for probably since our parents' generation, but it's really kind of coming into physicality now. And I think this group of women that is slowly gathering is starting to feel that as well. So it feels like it's the timing is right also.
Beautiful. Thank you, Emily. Um, yeah, I think over the last years you have been intensely working with women, right? Like it has been like a journey of your own discovery and of discovery of your connection with sisters, and also with the term that you like to use with the goddesses, an awakening of the goddess within. So maybe if you could talk a little bit on that, like what you have noticed that women really need in the modern times, and what is the effect that these circles can have on us women.
Yeah, thank you, Nina. I started running women's circles in 2020 during the pandemic, and I started it because I needed it. I was freshly out of a divorce. I was retooling my life, and I felt like I had a lot of mommy issues and a lot of broken sister relationships with my sister, whereas I just had a lot of breakage there in those relationships. And I felt the need to heal in those areas. And so I felt the need for it. And I just started, I remember holding my first women's ceremony, and I was terrified because I was in Washington, D.C., and the culture there was like, women act like men and they get ahead. And I was also kind of in this corporate, get ahead. Like we put our emotions aside and we just go. And that was where I was coming from. And many women, were there in the DC area. And there in the nation's capital, I said, you know what, let's just try. And I remember being so nervous because I was feeling the desire for it, but I was also feeling a lot of blocks around it. I was seeing, friendships that had broken, and I was still holding on to the pain. Not having a great relationship with my mom ever in my life. And that was kind of like the first woman you connect with, right? And so there was a lot of fear, I think, around stepping into like really being held by women, confiding in women, being vulnerable about women, because gosh, Nina, in the workplace, if you were vulnerable around somebody, you would get eaten for lunch. Like, oh, did you know Emily was crying about the meeting? And I don't know if she can handle it. Like that was the attitude the culture I had been around kind of in my work life. And so, I had a lot of fear and anxiety coming into it. And I think what I found is, oh, it's so juicy, Nina. To be in a safe place where we can talk about those things freely. It was like a coming home. It was like, oh, this is what being a woman is. Like we can share so freely. And I think when I found when the circle started coming together is there was an innate, openness that we women do have. There's an innate future thinking that we possess. Like there's something like coded in our DNA to raise children, to think more long term, to kind of have a more communal understanding of the world and like helping each other out so that not only our children but other children can go on. And so it was like coded in there. And when those codes started coming out, there was just there was a peace and a like a relaxation, I think, that everybody could drop into. And some of us still fought it a little bit. I remember I had two women actually leave the circle the first time I held one, and I was like, okay, we're not everybody's there yet. But I think those of us that stuck it out and really opened ourselves found such a peace. And I went on to start introducing different plant medicines into the circles and start also talking about the way things used to be before a lot of recorded history. It was a matriarch, it was a goddess worship, it was a women's worship. And so, um, this slow remembrance of really how powerful women were. We held, the chalice of creation. We held this power of having children, but also inside of our wombs, we create universes, we create businesses, we create ideas. Like so much comes out of our womb. The remembrance started coming back to the women, and we could be in that cauldron of creation together. And just so much pleasure came out of it, and then the desire to continue also came out of it as well.
Gosh, thank you. I got so many goosebumps just listening to your voice and your shares and this well of wisdom that comes from your heart in your womb space. And yeah, maybe I will just share that I have been held by Emily on a couple of occasions in different settings, in different circles. And yeah, there is something truly, truly magical about you and your ability and your capability to hold others, to guide them in a very gentle way, but also in a very focused, very assertive way to come to this place of realization and healing. It's yeah, it's truly magical for me, and I thank you for holding me. And I've seen how you also held other women in sometimes in really moments of heaviness and anguish and despair. So I just wanna, yeah, testify to the beauty of what you can create and to the beauty and the immensity of how you can hold others. Um, and speaking of that, there is a circle that we are co-creating, and it will happen on the 26th of May. It will be a Monday. The time will be 5:30 p.m. Central European Time. And Emily will be creating and holding a beautiful circle that will be called Open and Release. And the topic will be actually very much connected to the dark moon because the circle is happening on the dark moon. Somehow I felt, yeah, it would be beautiful to create something on the dark moon as well, because we're always focused on the new moons and the full moons with our intentions and settings. But there is something fiercely powerful and very liberating and healing about the energy of the dark moons, especially for the feminine. So, Emily, I will let you talk a little bit about the ideas that you have for this circle.
Yeah. Yeah, just something kind of alchemically. The dark moon, from the intuition that I received, is actually a time that us women created our elixirs and our tinctures and our spagyrics. And it's kind of a time, a lot of the alchemy books are written by men, and so they talk a lot about the full moon and the bright side of the month of the cycle. On like through intuition and a lot of remembering, I've realized that actually the dark moon is where women did a lot of their rituals and things like that. So thank you, Nina, for inviting me to have this space at the end of May. And I I've been having a lot of opening and releasing in my own life, and I would like to share kind of the process of birthing, of creation with our circle. And sometimes the labor pains that we go through, even the process of birth, we have to open, open, open so that this baby, this creation can come out. And so using a little bit of a metaphor with the birth process, it's a balance of surrendering and also action. And so this is a lot about the balance of masculine and feminine inside of us. And so we'll be touching on some of those topics, and I'll be giving you actual practices that we'll do together and homework that you can continue this practice of opening and opening and opening and then release. And we'll, it's interesting. We're recording this today on the Scorpio full moon, and I think a lot of us have felt like this death process. And right now maybe we're learning that death isn't so scary. And so we'll be talking a little bit about that in the opening process. Is sometimes things have to fall out, some things have to get released. There's space that needs to be made in this beautiful cauldron for the creation to come through. And so we'll be kind of like getting into it and actually like picking some of this stuff out together. And I encourage you to come. You'll have a chance to go into your own patterns and to your own life and what's currently going on with you. And you'll also get to share with this beautiful circle of women and really feel what it feels like to be held and feel what it feels like to be responded to and to be listened to and to hear your voice come out and speak your desires and speak about yourself. It's a really powerful process that us women are really tapping into, is to speak from your heart and to speak from what you really want. We've been shadowed and conditioned, and so this circle is really an opportunity to come and to speak and to be heard as we release and open. So thank you, Nina, for this opportunity. I look forward to sharing it with each one of you that decides to come and or listen to the recording afterwards.
Wow. Thank you, Emily, for this beautiful presentation of the upcoming circle. Maybe I'll just add astrologically that it's a very magical moment. We'll have the moon conjunct Uranus and then conjunct Mercury. As the moon is emptying in Taurus, which has a lot to do with what you were talking about, speaking up. And also it's coming close to the conjunction with the sun in Gemini, which is all about communication and really being free. And what I also feel connecting, right? Like creating these healthy healing networks with, in this case, with other women. So yeah, I can only encourage the topic, and I'm so looking forward to being part of your circle, Emily. So yeah, please, everyone, whoever feels invited, called to the circle, we would love to have you come join us on the 26th of May, and we'll create some magic together. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Emily.
Thank you. Thank you. Look forward to
Bye
seeing you
bye.
there.